I'm out for a ride in the villages on my Trek Madone. And I just signed up for a 10-day, 1,200-mile ride that takes place the last week of July and first week of August in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The ride's called the Tour da Yoop. It's not a race, it's just a really long endurance ride. So there's no rest days, it's 10 consecutive days, and you end up with just over 1,200 miles. So I did the ride last year for the first time, and it really was an amazing, challenging experience. Glad I did it. Decided to do it again, so I just signed up for it again. Ride's also for a good cause. They raise money for families that have kids fighting childhood cancer in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So trying to raise some money to help those families out with all their travel expenses, as they don't really have anything for the kids with cancer in the Upper Peninsula. They all have to travel from the Upper Peninsula down to Ann Arbor, Michigan, to the U of M Children's Cancer Hospital. So it's quite a long trip every time they go for something. They have to do that. Well, when I signed up for it last year, one of the things I was trying to struggle with was, how do you train for something like that? I was trying to wrap my head around it. I mean, I've done a number of century rides. I've done 3 previous double century rides. I've done a few back-to-back century rides, but I've never done 10 century plus rides in a row before, and I had no idea how my body would react to that and how I trained for it. So I'm going to talk about right now how I trained for it last year. I'll first go over a quick summary of my training program, and then I'll talk later about why I chose that. So that way, if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you can just hear what I did on my average week. So I started training for it in March. So I had March, April, May, June, and most of July to train. And during that training period, I was doing just over 1,400 miles a month. Now, prior to that, I was doing about 900 to 1,000 miles a month. So it wasn't like I was just doing 200 or 300 miles a month and I just jumped way up there. I was already, in that 900 to 1,000 mile range. And then I bumped it up. Now, what I ended up doing was I would do 2 centuries a week. And on the other days, my rides would vary between 42 and 47 miles, and I would take 1 rest day a week. So that's what I was looking at doing. Now, as far as my schedule, what I ended up settling on was Monday, I would do my 42 to 47 mile ride in heart rate zone 2. Tuesday, and then Monday afternoon I would go to the gym. So I'd go to Planet Fitness, and I wouldn't do any free weights, but I'd hit all the machines and do a total body workout. So like core, legs, upper body. It'd take me about an hour, 15 minutes to an hour and a half to do that. Tuesday, another 42 to 47 mile ride in heart rate zone 2. Gonna pass on your right. Wednesday, I would do a century ride, heart rate zone 2. Thursday would be the one day when I wouldn't do a zone 2 heart rate ride. So Thursday I would either load my bike up in the van and head out to the Clearmont area and ride hills like Sugarloaf and the wall and the rollers and get some climbing in. Or I'd stay local and do another 42 to 47 mile ride, but I'd put intervals in there and some strong segments to get my heart rate up. But Thursday was the only day when I was training where it would be a target heart rate zone 2 ride. Then Thursday afternoon I'd go back to the gym, go to Planet Fitness and do another total body workout on the machines. Then on Friday was my rest day. So Friday I'd take the day off. No cycling, no walking, no gym, just maybe go see a movie, hang out on the couch, not really do much of anything. Maybe wash and do some maintenance on the bicycle. But Friday was rest day. Saturday, I'd go out and do another century ride. Once again, heart rate zone 2. Then on Sunday, my wife likes to go ride rail trails. So on Sunday, we'd load the bikes up in the van, go hit one of the rail trails around us, or if you don't want to go to a rail trail, we just hit the bike paths here in the villages. And we go for a ride together between 30 and 40 miles. And my wife likes to sightsee when she's riding, so it'd pretty much be a zone 1 ride for me. I might hit zone 2 for a minute or two, but that'd be about it. It'd pretty much be a zone 1 total recovery ride. And that would be my week. And then I'd start over the next week and do the same thing. Then 1 week out of the month, I would change my schedule. So 1 week out of the month, what I do is I do the same thing I was doing before on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But Thursday, I would take a rest day. Wednesday, I would do, instead of the century, I would do the 42 to 47 mile ride where I would put in my efforts or go hit the hills. So I would like rest day on Thursday, move Thursday's ride to Wednesday. And then Friday and Saturday, I would do back-to-back centuries. So I would do that once a month where I do my 2 centuries back-to-back rather than splitting them up in the week. And once again, they were all heart rate zone 2 rides. So 3 weeks out of the month, I do that first week that I explained to you, and then 1 week out of the month, I'd switch a couple rides around and do my centuries back to back. And on those century back to back days, Thursday would be my rest day instead of Friday. So it worked out pretty good. I mean, some of the, now I'll talk about how I came up with this schedule and why I was doing it. Because one, you don't know what you don't know. And that rings really true with this one. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I didn't know if I was going to show up at this event, be good day 1, day 2, suck on day 3, day 4 be really struggling to hang on, day 5 throw in the towel because my body just deteriorated. I had no idea what to expect. I mean, I did end up completing all 10 days or all 10 stages and felt good the whole time, pretty much, from this training program. But I didn't know what to expect because I'd never done anything like that before. So one of the things I was doing was, when I first started training for it in March, I was doing a lot of group rides. And what I would do on Wednesdays and Saturdays was, I would just get up early and log a bunch of miles before the group ride would start, then join the group, do the group ride, and then knock out whatever extra miles I needed to get my century ride in for the day. And then I'm researching on the internet how to get trained for something like this. Wasn't really, they had a little bit on the Tour da Yoop website, but in general I couldn't find a whole lot of information about training for an event like this. So there was 2 guys that I ride with in our A group that had both previously done the ride across America. One did the southern route, one did the northern route. So I talked to them separately and asked them, how did you train for something like that? and they told me a lot of long days in the saddle and heart rate zone 2. Okay, so even though they did it on separate times in their lives, they didn't even know each other or live near each other when they both did it, they both followed a similar training program. So, okay, then I talked to one of the other guys in our age group who does a lot of racing. He's a really strong rider, and he said, yeah, you want to be doing these heart rate zone 2 works. He goes, in fact, this was the beginning of May, and he told me, he goes, if I was you, I would stop doing group rides altogether until you get back from this event. And from now until you leave, just do solo rides and focus on heart rate zone 2 on those rides. He goes, if you do that, you'll be good. So that's what I did. So in March and April, while I was following that week setup that I just told you about, I was doing a lot of group rides. I was doing a lot more intense rides. So I transitioned at the end of April, beginning of May, from doing a lot of those high intensity rides into pretty much 5 of my rides in the week would be heart rate zone 2. One day of the week I'd put an effort in, and the other day was a rest day. Now, another thing that enabled me to follow that schedule is I'm retired. So I don't have to get up and go to work every day. So I looked at it like this training was my job. My job was to train for this event, and that's what I did. So I was able to put in all these long days in the saddle and follow the program. So when I got up there and did the event, you know, I was able to complete it. I felt like, and I talked to some other people when I got up there and asked them how they trained, and a few of them I talked to thought that I had overtrained for this event. So this year, I'm backing down my miles a bit. I'm still doing most of my rides in HR zone 2, but I'm knocking my miles. I'm not going to be doing 1,400 miles a month. I'm going to be doing more around 1,100 to 1,200 miles a month. And since I don't know what I don't know, and I've only done this once, after I finish this second time, I'll know. Did I screw up by cutting back on my mileage? Or was I still doing just as good up there and was able to finish the rides by following this program? So I won't know until I actually get up there and do it again, whether me altering my training schedule and reducing the mileage a little bit is going to hurt me or not. I'm hoping it doesn't, but I won't know till I get up there. So what I was going to do is put together a string of videos, put them in a playlist, and I'll cover different topics like nutrition, what I did for this ride, how I set my bike up for this ride, what the ride was like, how it's supported, how I trained for it during some of my training rides, and go over that. But basically, if you're going to challenge, if you're going to take on a challenge like this, yeah, doing those HR Zone 2 rides really do help. One, there's a lot, I've done a lot of research on them. I'm not a doctor or a medical person, or I'm not a sports medicine person or anything like that. I'm just a regular Joe. I was doing a lot of research on why HR Zone 2 rides when you're training for something like this. And you want to let your body recover quicker. So if you're going out and you're constantly hammering yourself in like zones 3, 4, 5, and you're pinging your heart off the rev limiter, it's going to take longer for you to recover from a hard, high intensity ride than it is from a Zone 2 ride. Also, from what I've read, is you're less likely to get an injury from a Zone 2 ride than a higher intensity ride. So less chance of pulling a muscle or a tendon or a ligament or doing some kind of damage like that if you're just sticking to the Zone 2 ride. So you got the benefits of that. Another thing I read was when you're doing your Zone 2 rides, there's a lot of little veins in your body that don't get used that much for getting blood to your muscles. The blood flowing in your muscles. Look, I'm not a medical person, so I may be screwing this up, but when you're in Zone 2, it uses a lot of those tiny vessels to help transport the blood. Then because they get used a lot on these Zone 2 rides, when you do increase and you start going on to a more high intense ride, those little veins and stuff, they're used to getting used, so your body takes advantage of them, and then you get more blood flow going, which will make you perform better when you're doing those high intensity type rides. So I guess you got that going for you too. But I'll go ahead and throw together some more videos covering specific topics on this thing and give you an idea. But overall, that's how I trained for it. I was able to complete the event, and I felt pretty good most of the time that I was doing it. So that'll wrap this one up. The next one I'll talk about is what I did on my 100-mile century training rides and how I experimented with different things and getting ready for this event. So that's the end of this one.